He is the only Chinese protagonist in Japanese anime and possesses the strongest power among the contractors. He easily toys with the police and can effortlessly defeat even killers who use blood as their weapon. The man is named Li Shengshun, codenamed Hei, and is the most powerful contractor under a mysterious organization. Yet another man dares to investigate Hei's organization. When the police become aware of their movements, they send observer spirits to monitor them, only to have all of them captured by this man's ability to imprison. His name is Itzhak, and the woman with him is named Bertha. Just as Itzhak is about to imprison another observer spirit, Yin neutralizes the ability. Itzhak declares they have found their target. Severing observer spirits abruptly puts the observer into a coma, causing Hei's team to lose contact with Yin during this period. The most dangerous part is that last night, someone from the organization was killed, likely by those targeting the organization. Huang worries that Yin might be kidnapped. Although Yin lacks emotions and self-awareness, she has an excellent memory. If captured, sensitive information could be leaked. In a desperate situation, they might have to completely abandon her. At this moment, Yin, unconscious on the street, suddenly regains consciousness after being bumped into. She finds herself drawn to Music Square, where she instinctively starts playing along with the music. Before becoming an observer, her mother had hired a teacher to teach her piano, which had now become an instinctive skill for her. Meanwhile, Yin's former teacher is also looking for her. Detective Guy takes on the mission and heads to the supermarket run by Yin, only to find it deserted. Just as he is about to question his assistant Kiko, she leaves, claiming it's her day off. Unexpectedly, while playing with her friend, Kiko spots the distracted Yin and takes her to a cafe. Influenced by Kiko, Yin actually smiles for the first time. Kiko then calls Guy to inform him that she has found Yin. However, while she is on the phone, Yin leaves again. She is drawn by observer spirits to a construction site where Itzhak is already waiting. He can interpret the consciousness of observers and tries to draw Yin to him, but she turns and runs. Suddenly, a black cat appears and blocks Itzhak, just as Hei prepares to kill him. Unexpectedly, Bertha opens her mouth wide behind him and emits a sonic wave that causes the black cat to bristle and slows Hei's actions. At that moment, Guy arrives at the scene and takes Yin away in his car. Her teacher calls out her real name, triggering memories of her past. The teacher then plans to hide her temporarily and arrange for her to be sent abroad. However, Guy is puzzled about why Yin was at that location. The teacher doesn't reveal the truth, only mentioning that they were being tracked. He then offers a huge sum as a reward, which tempts Guy, who agrees to take on the task. Meanwhile, Huang is furious. They haven't captured the enemy, and now Yin is also lost. He declares that next time Yin is found, she must be killed regardless of the circumstances. The black cat, overhearing this, is displeased. Internal conflict within their group would play right into their enemy's hands. However, Huang insists they are not comrades. He is a normal person, not an emotionless contractor like the others. But Hei mocks him, commenting on how ugly his fear looks. This infuriates Huang, who feels they do not understand the true terror of the organization. If Hei does not take action against Yin, Huang declares he will handle it himself. Just now, Itzhak and Bertha detected Yin's movements. To accurately obtain information about Pandora, they are prepared to intercept her at any cost. However, the police have already blocked all the intersections, and they have been spotted. Bertha then activates her ability, causing the chief inspector to suddenly suffer a heart attack, and they escape amid the chaos. Bertha's true power is resonance. She can emit sonic waves or induce cardiac arrest. The cost of using her ability is chewing 4 cigarettes. Meanwhile, Yin has refused to return to her hometown with her teacher. Although she is an observer, meant to act on others' instructions, her emotions seem to be awakening. The organization has already tracked her down, and Huang relays this information to Hei, who immediately springs into action. However, while every faction knows roughly where Yin is without a medium, they cannot pinpoint her exact location. Suddenly, a light rain begins to fall, and Yin's observer spirits emerge from the water. Sensing trouble, her teacher quickly gets out of the car with Yin, and they flee to an abandoned school in the mountains. Unexpectedly, they find an intact piano inside. Yin, driven by memory, begins to play the piano involuntarily. The music brings back memories of her past. It turns out her father died in a plane crash, and her mother was killed by a car while trying to save her. After losing her parents, Yin gained the ability to become an observer. Her teacher thought she did not want to return to a place of sorrow, yet she does not know what sadness is. Only reason remains. As the piano piece ends, various forces converge on the location. Guy thinks Hei is a bad guy following Yin. Hei tells him to leave quickly as this is not his affair. However, Guy refuses to give up, feeling genuine sympathy for Yin. Yin senses Hei's arrival. Her teacher tries to stop Hei, but Yin steps forward. Hei wonders if Yin wants to escape voluntarily, but it's clear that's not the case. Before she can explain, a piercing sound rings out, and the building starts to shake. It turns out to be Bertha's ability in action. Seconds later, the place is reduced to ruins. Bertha recognizes Hei as the contractor who had previously thwarted them. Itzhak suggests they only need to keep the observer. Bertha then attacks Hei, who uses his ability as a pacemaker. Taking advantage of Bertha's momentary lapse, Hei captures her neck with a steel cable and electrocutes her, neutralizing the threat. Itzhak tries to escape but is shot by Huang from a distance. As Huang then aims at Yin, a blue light suddenly emits from Itzhak, releasing all the observer spirits he had captured. Huang was stunned by what he saw. Yin was actually crying. Observers are not supposed to have emotions. Unable to shoot a normal person, Huang had no choice but to let Yin go. Such a decision could lead to punishment by the organization. Huang was panicked, but fortunately, the incident did not cause any material damage. The organization decided not to pursue the matter further, but planned to reset Yin's system. However, Huang refused their request, arguing that they had grown accustomed to Yin as she was. Like before, Yin returned to her shop as usual. This woman is incredible. She outdrank 4 men and complained that the male escorts at the club were too weak, getting drunk before the clients. As she turned around, she noticed 2 people staring at her from across the street. She felt a chill, took out her phone and charged towards them, but they were picked up by a car. The woman hailed a taxi, but as soon as she got in, the taxi exploded. April was rushed into surgery, with November and July anxiously waiting outside. She was alive but unconscious. It turns out, April had seen Amber, who had escaped from the organization. 5 years ago, Amber, as a double agent, had taken information from MI6 to her organization about Hell's Gate, putting them at a disadvantage in their research on contractors. Then she disappeared. But now, Amber's reappearance raised questions about her intentions. The boss ordered November to put all other missions on hold and prioritize capturing Amber. The moment of the solar flare was approaching, with a giant eyeball expected to appear on the sun's surface, a phenomenon that started after the gates appeared. Observatories from major organizations were on high alert, not knowing what to expect. The last solar flare 5 years ago made Heaven's Gate in South America disappear. Suddenly, an alarm sounded at the base, urging everyone to return to the observation room, as Lord Hoshimi had spoken. On the other side, a boy couldn't reach a pendant hanging from a tree. Hei happened to pass by and helped him. The boy thanked him, mentioning it was a gift from someone very important to him, and then left. Meanwhile, Hei arrived at the explosion site. They received news that the organization's meteorite fragment was missing, seemingly related to the explosion. Evidence of M16's presence was found at the scene. Huang instructed Hei to retrieve the fragment. The boy returned to the underground bar. A man asked him why he came back to the scene. The boy explained that something important had been left hanging on a tree during the explosion, but he met an interesting guy while retrieving it. It turned out Amber was November's target. The police also received this news and were preparing to act. Suddenly, a loud explosion was heard outside. The CIA building was bombed. Multiple organizations were attacked one after another, sparking fears of war. They were all thrown into chaos without a clue. November was told to focus solely on finding Amber and ignore everything else. Just as he was about to leave, Hei blocked his path, demanding the stolen fragment. November, unaware of the situation, assumed Amber and Hei were from the same organization. However, when Hei heard Amber's name, he became visibly agitated. Nevertheless, no fight occurred. Their main goal was to find Amber first. Hei disguised himself as an ordinary person and blended into the crowd. Meanwhile, November received news that the next explosion target might be the National Embassy. Indeed, the National Embassy was bombed. Arriving at the scene, November spotted the boy and recalled a message from April suggesting the boy might be connected to Amber. He instructed July to find Misaki while he got out of the car to pursue the boy. November used his powers to freeze the boy's feet first, but the boy's eyes emitted a red light. Multiple handprints appeared behind November, followed by an explosion that engulfed him. Hei, too, was running towards his target, recalling past events. It seemed there was an untold story between Hei and Amber. An old man who hadn't spoken for 100 years suddenly spoke, and it was about a major crisis. Japan was on the brink of being leveled. The leadership initiated an emergency meeting while intelligence agencies went into combat readiness. The large screens in the square continuously broadcast the implementation of a curfew starting from that moment. Meanwhile, Hei arrived at Yin's shop only to find she was missing because Amber had taken her. Upon seeing the message, Hei immediately set out. The Black Cat did not understand why Amber would take Yin, especially since she had been Hei's partner. Suddenly, Hei realized they were on the wrong route. Huang stated that the organization forbade him from meeting Amber, but Hei rushed out anyway, only to be stopped by Huang shooting. Resisting the organization could lead to death, but Huang, merely a human, how could he possibly defeat a contractor? Misaki received a message from her best friend linking the series of bombings to contractors, who typically operate in secrecy. She wondered why they would act so openly during daylight. Then, July approached her with news that November might be in trouble, prompting her to immediately ask July to take her to the location. Fortunately, November had not been killed, but was captured by the enemy, hoping to gather information about Amber. However, the boy named Maki was extremely composed, like a robot, with eyes only for Amber. For her, he was willing to destroy the entire city. Maki was puzzled why November, a contractor, would willingly serve humans. He believed contractors, chosen by the era, should not fear humans who could not form contracts, asserting that they were the true rulers of this world. November thought these ideas were taught by Amber, but Maki claimed they were his own understanding, adding that the city would disappear, just like those in South America. At this moment, the red-haired man Amagiri spoke, inviting November to join their organization, Evening Primrose. November refused, having received a message from July that Misaki and the special police had completely surrounded them. Unfazed, they confidently stated he would meet them again, caused a disturbance, and escaped. As the mastermind behind it all, Amber was casually chatting with Yin. She once was Hei's lover and had seen his genuine smile. She would do anything to see that smile again. However, Hei encountered Maki, who recognized him as the person Amber always talked about. Jealous, Maki picked up a stone and attacked. Hei dodged to the side of a car, and Maki threw the stone under it. When the smoke cleared, Hei was gone. Just as Maki was about to leave, November froze him. However, Maki's powers easily countered ice, allowing him to break free. Misaki tried to pursue but was stopped by November, who explained that Hei was the contractor she had been looking for, and he would handle the young troublemaker himself. Maki's mentality had become pathological, wanting to eliminate everyone except Amber. He rigged the entire building with traps. Fortunately, July was with November and detected the traps. Unaware, Maki thought he had killed them all. But just as he believed it was over, November stood at the doorway. Meanwhile, Hei had found Amber. As Amber rushed to check on his injuries, he pushed her away. Then Hei slapped Amber. She told him that she could arrange for him to see his sister, but the city would disappear as a result. At that moment, Misaki arrived and saw Hei surrounded by a blue light, preparing to shoot. However, Amber then activated her power. Amber's power was to manipulate time. Once it was deactivated, only Misaki remained at the scene. The members of Evening Primrose had regrouped at a second location, but Maki was nowhere to be seen. Amber stated that he wouldn't be coming back because November had killed him. This cute girl was shockingly being trafficked as a commodity. She would do anything when commanded, making her a prized possession among the wealthy. However, fearing misconduct from his subordinates, the gang boss handed her over to the honest man, Enji, for safekeeping. He never expected that Enji would betray him for the girl's sake. Just recently, Enji encountered troublemakers at a restaurant and tried to intimidate them with his gang identity, only to be knocked down by a punch. Fortunately, Hei was there working part-time as a waiter. Even the best fighter can be threatened by a knife. The troublemaker pulled out a deadly weapon. Enji tried to help Hei but fumbled at the crucial moment. Luckily, the gang boss arrived in time, and the troublemakers received VIP treatment. Enji was deeply impressed by Hei's Chinese martial arts. Afterwards, the boss gave him $300,000 to go have a lavish meal with Hei. But Enji was again shocked by Hei's huge appetite. Could this be the secret to his strength? Then, Enji rode his small motorcycle to take Hei home. Along the way, the motorcycle began to emit smoke and completely broke down by the time they reached Hei's house. A torrential rain started, so they had no choice but to rest at Hei's place. However, a wild party was happening downstairs, making it impossible for them to relax. Enji decided to handle the situation for Hei and stormed into the apartment below. But the 4 people there were from different countries and had never heard of Enji's gang. Moreover, there was a terrifying landlady who demanded compensation for the door with a broom in hand. As everyone present was broke, they had to fix the door themselves. In doing so, they all bonded successfully. Hei's appetite was the focus of attention wherever he went, but he was not sociable. After the meal, he left under the pretext of having something to do. The neighbors also mentioned that they had never spoken to him. In reality, Hei left to meet with Huang. He was working at the restaurant to monitor the gang. Their goods would be arriving in 3 days, and he needed to ensure the transaction went smoothly. When they got back home, Enji's motorcycle had been fixed. They greeted each other and parted ways. Enji was taken to the storeroom by the boss, who prepared to assign him an important task. However, the next moment, Enji was shocked by what he saw. A girl, not wearing underwear, was inside a box. At the boss's command, the girl stood up with a blank expression, showing no emotion. The boss explained that the girl was a doll, programmed to do anything on command. This type of doll is highly sought after at auctions by wealthy bidders. The boss tasked Enji with looking after the doll for 3 days, responsible for feeding her and taking care of her needs. Then, the boss lifted the doll's skirt, a scene Enji had never seen before, almost causing him to faint. The boss chose Enji to care for the doll because of his straightforward and naive nature. He didn't trust anyone else. However, Enji was confused. The girl clearly looked human. Unbeknownst to him, he began to develop feelings for her. Meanwhile, Hei received the doll's address and planned to intercept her. However, upon arriving at the location, he found only an unconscious guard and no sign of anyone else. Could this be an internal gang conflict? Hei's team decided to wait for further instructions from their organization. But when Hei got home, he was in for a big shock. What kind of love allows a man, upon first meeting, to risk his life against Japan's most powerful gang, willingly betray his most admired brother, and even draw guns against him, only to regret it for the rest of his life? Just now, with no escape, Enji could only bring the girl to Hei, whom he had only met once. Hei recognized the girl as the doll they were looking for. Yet Enji confessed his love for her and vowed to make her happy by fleeing Tokyo with her. However, the gang's reach extended throughout the city, making a silent escape a fantasy. Enji managed to persuade Hei with his eloquence, but his troubles were just beginning. The boss had just become the leader and needed funds to stabilize his position and bribe the organization's elders. He ordered the doll's retrieval. Enji's life was expendable. Meanwhile, Hei visited a women's lingerie store and ran into Officer Misaki while holding a piece of lingerie. The atmosphere turned awkward. Then Misaki's friend suddenly appeared, hinting at a delicate relationship between the two. Misaki was skeptical, understanding buying clothes for a girlfriend, but lingerie and a wig too. Her friend suggested it might not be a gift, perhaps for his own use. Misaki directly confronted Hei with her suspicions. He explained it was for a friend, relieving Misaki. Even her friend noticed Misaki's special look towards Hei. Hei greeted them and left, but upon returning home he discovered an extra pair of shoes. Yin had arrived at the location. Hei thought she was sent by Huang to spy on him, but Yin shook her head. Surprisingly, the doll Yin had developed her own consciousness. Hei didn't think much of it, and asked her to help the girl change clothes. However, Yin communicated with the girl instead, unknown to Hei, who was busy discussing escape plans with Enji. After the girl was dressed, Hei decided to escort them to Shinjuku Station, but the station was full of gang informants. Hei pushed them into an elevator and stayed behind to cover their escape. When gang members arrived, they only found Yin standing at the door. Enji and the girl fled to the garage, but the boss had been waiting there for a while. By the time Hei arrived, it was too late. Black Cat informed him that Enji had been taken by the gang. He advised Hei to stop, as Enji would be killed, the doll would be sold, and the gang would come after Hei next. The mission could no longer continue, and they should go into hiding. Continuing to help Enji might be seen as betrayal to their organization. Suddenly, Yin detected the girl's observer spirits, which were communicating with her. The doll had released observer spirits through her own will, which Black Cat found unbelievable and suspected it was a trap set by the gang to lure Hei. However, Hei didn't care whether it was a trap or not. NG had endured inhuman torture. His older brother couldn't understand why he would sacrifice his life for a doll, but to NG she was a flesh-and-blood human, and the girl he loved. For her, he was willing to risk his life. His brother held a gun to NG's forehead, hesitating. Just then, Hei arrived in time, using his supernatural abilities to knock down 3 men effortlessly. The enemy drew their guns and fired. Hei took cover beside a car, and when the enemy approached, he used electricity to knock him down. As he was about to charge out, the boss blocked him. At that moment, NG rushed forward and knocked the boss down, reversing the situation. He then put the boss in the car and drove them to the station. They reminisced about their childhood. It was his first time in the boss's car, and he had learned how to protect his loved ones. After sending NG and the girl away, Hei wondered why he let them go so easily. The gun had no bullets. NG never imagined that the boss would give his life for him, while his heart was solely filled with love for the girl before him. This woman could instantly kill a target with just a look, yet the scene before her terrified her beloved man. He dreamt of murder every night, and the victim was always himself. Since then, Huang never had a good night's sleep. Originally a regular police officer, Huang met a woman named Kishida stealing in a supermarket during a mission investigating a cult leader. He intended to capture her, but she managed to escape due to his carelessness. Then, a car suddenly hit her, sending Kishida to the hospital. As a righteous police officer, Huang felt responsible for her, and they became friends. One night, Kishida, drunk and overwhelmed, impulsively kissed Huang's thick lips. She then confessed she wasn't drunk, but did it because she liked Huang, leading them to fall in love. However, Huang could never have imagined that Kishida was a contractor and had personally killed his partner, Isozaki. Huang deeply disliked contractors, and this became an unresolved issue in his heart. To avoid having his memory erased, he chose to join the organization. A new cult called Friends of the Gate has emerged, claiming happiness can only be achieved through heartfelt prayers in this starless, false world. Hei has been tasked with eliminating the cult leader. The organization had already infiltrated them 3 years ago. Hei is to collaborate with a woman from a photo, who is none other than Huang's beloved Kishida. Hei easily blends into the cult, but Huang contacts him at an inopportune time, an unusual act. Hei doesn't dwell on it and arranges to meet Kishida in the confessional at midnight the day after tomorrow, when the cult leader will meet a key figure. Kishida plans to handle the leader herself, as her power can only be used once, leaving Hei to deal with others. Unexpectedly, Huang almost gets them killed. As the cult leader appears, observer spirits emerge in the water nearby. Kishida glances at them, revealing her identity as a contractor. Just as she's about to use her power, a man grabs her head. Hei disrupts the electrical circuits with his power, plunging the area into darkness, and attempts to take out the cult leader. However, the man's ability to generate concussive blasts thwarts Hei, forcing a temporary retreat while Kishida is captured. The entire debacle was due to Huang's unnecessary action of ordering Yin to release observer spirits, which was detected. Regretting this too late, they prepare to act again, but the organization issues a new order to eliminate Kishida along with the cult leader. After Huang leaves, Black Cat reveals another directive. If Huang fails to deal with Kishida, Hei must eliminate Huang as well. Hei and Huang sneaked into the base, knocked out the guard at the entrance, and reached the room where Kishida was held. Huang woke his lover with several slaps and learned the cult leader's whereabouts from her. They moved together, but the base had too many enemies. A security guard armed with a gun stopped Huang, but Kishida glared at him, causing the man to bleed from all orifices. This became a psychological trauma for Huang, but he persisted and left with Kishida. In the car, Huang asked Kishida a question that had been bothering him for years: whether she had intentionally gotten close to him to extract information about Isozaki. Suspecting their past relationship was a trap, Kishida's next words stunned him. Isozaki had been a traitor in the police force, and it was unclear whether Huang or Isozaki was the mole, so Kishida was supposed to eliminate both. However, she fell in love with Huang. Huang could not decide whether to believe her, as he was ordered by the organization to eliminate Kishida. Just as he was about to act, Kishida suddenly suffered a severe headache, a price of using her powers, which ironically restored human emotions temporarily. Huang thought Kishida was acting, but he found himself unable to kill the woman he loved. Elsewhere, Hei located the cult leader's hideout. Due to excessive use of her powers, she had aged to appear like a centenarian. She questioned Hei. "Why do you allow yourself to be used by the organization? Can't you leave them?" She explained that contractors, having lost societal norms and conscience, are inevitably used as tools and not recognized as fellow humans by society. Thus, she chose faith, initially as a practical solution, but now believed it was the right choice. She mused, "It's said that contractors have no heart, but is that really true? Whether a contractor or not, those inclined to commit crimes will do so. For contractors, their abilities are like added sins. Even without powers, one can still take lives with weapons, and using powers comes with a cost." At that moment, her body reverted to a youthful state, indicating she was about to pay her final price. Afterwards, Hei went to where Huang was and learned about their situation. Huang wanted to hold on, but eventually gave up, asking Hei to kill them both. Instead, Hei decided to help them escape. They drove to the port, where Hei waited in a warehouse. As Kishida got out of the car, she noticed someone hiding in the corner but didn't tell Huang. Just as they were about to board the ship, she pretended to unleash her powers to scare Huang and then ran into an alley. By the time everyone realized what was happening, she had been hit and killed by a truck. It was then that Hei noticed the organization had already discovered their whereabouts, and Kishida had chosen suicide to save Huang's life. Every day, this woman goes without clothes and randomly chooses 30 strange men to kiss, as the price for using her abilities. Today, she targeted a 70-year-old man who was shocked by the scene before him. However, the woman didn't give him a chance to react. When soldiers arrived at the scene in response to an alarm, they found only clothes. Misaki received news of the professor's disappearance immediately. All clues pointed to the EPR organization. To date, EPR's actions have been aimed at publicizing the existence of contractors seeking legitimate rights. From the contractors arrested by the police, it was found that their memories had been tampered with, and all information about the mastermind had vanished. This made Misaki suspect that the situation was complex, and perhaps others were causing chaos. The chief seemed to know something, but Misaki did not detect any abnormalities in him. After a previous bombing attack, the National Embassy had tightened security and thus refused to assist Misaki, even expelling them. November was waiting for Misaki at the door with inside information from the embassy. A professor specializing in doors had been isolated in the depths of Pandora until 2 days ago, when he was kidnapped by the EPR organization, involving the embassy as well. From now on, there are no clear enemies or allies. Follow your instincts, November advised. After the embassy leadership expelled Misaki, they were self-satisfied. As the head of security, he felt nobody could act recklessly on his watch. Unbeknownst to him, his secretary was a member of EPR, and the professor was hidden underground by her. Hei had already arrived above the embassy. He handed the explosive device to Black Cat, who delivered it to the front of the embassy, causing panic. Using wires from above, Hei successfully infiltrated the premises, and then entered the interior of the embassy following Yin's guidance. After setting everything up and just as he was about to leave, a voice at the door revealed itself to be Jejun, who had previously fought against Hei and had joined Amber to fight him again. They engaged in combat, and Jejun's power still caused significant blood loss, risking incapacitation. Thus, Hei shifted from defense to offense. At that moment, Britta, hiding nearby, used her power to teleport next to Jejun and kissed him, transporting him away. She then teleported to Hei's side, flirted briefly, and disappeared from the scene. She planned to take the professor with her, but November had been waiting there for a while, hoping to see Amber again. Britta fulfilled his wish with a kiss. When Misaki arrived underground, everyone had vanished. Black Cat was still in a tree waiting for Hei to complete his mission, unaware that Amber had already set her sights on it. They were once proud national ambassadors, but they met tragic deaths within the embassy, slaughtered by someone they treated like a mere underling. Yet why would this person sacrifice his own life just to kill them all? Just recently, Black Cat was taken to Amber's base, where there was also a man not wearing any clothes. Black Cat was so frightened that its fur stood on end. Pretending to be a normal cat, it tried to slip away, but Amber saw right through its intentions. Black Cat was forced to stay and learned of a secret that necessitated its silence. The professor had developed a device capable of dealing with all contractors in one blow. During the South American War, a 1,500-kilometer radius around Heaven's Gate became an inviolable zone that rejected any physical contact. EPR intends to harness that power to detonate Hell's Gate in Tokyo again, to prevent the professor's device from being completed. A race against time is set to unfold between human leadership and contractors. Hai's team is preparing to rescue Black Cat, a decision tantamount to a suicide mission. Huang advised him against such foolish acts, but Hai insisted on proceeding. Misaki is also ready to help April find November. She begins to question the purpose of all her actions up to this point. On the other side, Black Cat thought no one would come to rescue it, believing that contractors, being rational beings, wouldn't foolishly enter a place where they knew they would die. However, Hai had already burst in from the elevator entrance, instantly disabling the building's electrical circuits. Yin's observer spirits emerged from the water and Amber sent Ji-Jun to confront Hai. He splashed blood on Hai's mask, then with a snap of his fingers, Hai's mask shattered. When Hai saw Amber appear above, he immediately tried to follow her, but Ji-Jun relentlessly pursued him. Brita teleported in, but Hai, undistracted by her presence, prepared to release an electric current. Fortunately for her, Brita teleported away just in time. Hai then swung up to the rooftop using wires and grabbed Amber's head, wanting to know the true purpose of EPR. However, Amber directed him to ask Black Cat, who had already revealed all the information. At that moment, Hai's powers erupted, resonating intensely with Meteor fragments. His sister's call brought his consciousness back. November and the professor seemingly witnessed something. One relieved and the other panicked. Misaki burst in and seemed to recognize Hai through the shattered mask. Luckily, Huang fired a flash grenade just in time, allowing Hai to escape. The professor was terrified because he knew the truth about the disappearance in South America, all due to Hai's powers. Pandora took the professor back to the base, but MI6 faced a dilemma. November entered the leader's office alone, having learned the high-level secret that they wanted all contractors to disappear, including himself. So at that moment, he decided to follow his heart. This man is just an ordinary human, yet can kill contractors in seconds with just a steel wire, earning him the nickname Black Reaper. However, none of this is his choice, yet he cannot avoid it, because his sister Bai is the most powerful contractor, whose abilities terrify the world. As a contractor, every kill Bai makes causes her immense pain. Hai has even considered ending her suffering, but he can't bring himself to do it. One day, Bai discovered the organization's plan to destroy contractors. Her powers erupted, wiping South America off the map. Now, Hai has inherited Bai's powers, making him crucial to Amber's plan to repeat the catastrophe in South America. As Amber predicted, Hai became lost upon learning the organization's secret, unsure of how to proceed. At the same time, Misaki is equally confused, haunted by November's last words. Coincidentally meeting Hai again, they decide to have a hearty meal and then play baseball, enjoying a rare moment of leisure. They both relaxed, but as Hai was about to go home, Black Cat stopped him. Huang rushed over in a car, revealing that they were all abandoned by the organization. Knowing Hai has the power to destroy cities, the organization plans to eliminate him ahead of time. Fortunately, Amber had a backup plan and sent Ji-Jun to rescue them. He prepares to lead them inside, facing a road full of obstacles. Huang decides to see them off on their final journey. At this moment, Misaki receives a call from her father, telling her to leave Tokyo immediately and seek refuge. This old man is set to die tomorrow, yet he chose to take his own life today because the organization he believed in treated him as disposable. Thus, Huang decided to stand with the contractors, intending to draw away the organization's pursuers with his last breath. His car entered a tunnel where Yin gave Huang a farewell hug before he drove off again in an empty car, luring the airborne troops away. When the pursuers stopped Huang, they found only an old man in the car. Misaki arrived at the Pandora facility, where Eric and the professor had anticipated her presence. They portrayed Hai as a brutal villain planning to detonate Tokyo with the contractors, but they already had a plan to stop him by erasing Hell's Gate, which would also eliminate all contractors worldwide. All preparations were completed, waiting for the contractors' action in 30 minutes. Upon learning their plan, Misaki wanted to object, arguing that not all contractors are criminals. However, her boss, also a member of the organization and one of the planners, shocked her. Her worldview was shattered as those who spoke of humanitarianism were gambling with millions of lives, making everything happening here a crime. Without a powerful backing or a will beyond national constraints, such actions could not have remained concealed. The director confirmed Misaki's suspicions, indicating that she too was unknowingly facilitating the plan's execution, and even Hei was part of the organization. Meanwhile, a fierce battle erupted between contractors and soldiers who were unaware of the higher-ups' intentions, effectively being disposable as well. Zhu led everyone into the underground tunnels. Although he sided with the contractors, his ultimate goal was to fight Hei and redeem his previous defeat by him. However, Zhu couldn't last even a second against Hei. If he had the ability to kill Hei, Amber would not have sent him to guide them. Despite knowing the likely outcome, Zhu chose to die in battle, showing that even contractors can act irrationally due to unexpected changes. Using his final powers, Zhu blasted a path leading to the gate. This man appeared out of nowhere, waved his hand gently, and a powerful gust engulfed the special forces. A woman rewarded the man with a kiss, which he declined, asking her to dress. Then, they approached a massive launcher. Just as the man was about to destroy it, a contractor appeared above them. It turned out that everything the man had just seen was an illusion caused by Amber using her powers. This allowed him to preemptively deal with the attacking contractor before destroying the device. Unexpectedly, the contractor had a breath left, and both were engulfed in flames. Britta barely escaped with her life, but nearly all the members involved in the attack perished. Fortunately, they had managed to destroy the device. However, an accident occurred as a new particle reaction was detected. It turned out the organization had a backup plan. They had prepared a spare device, and the one destroyed was a decoy. Meanwhile, Hei and others had reached the gate's interior, led by Yin, who helped them find the correct path. Suddenly, Black Cat began acting as if giving a last testament. Stars kept falling from the sky, indicating that contractors were continually disappearing. Just when humanity thought they were about to win, Yin sensed a new direction and led Hei to jump onto the water's surface. The sunspots are growing larger. Amber is waiting ahead, but she now appears as a child. There are few members left of the EPR team, and she doesn't have much time left. The anti-gate particles within the accelerator have reached their maximum level. Eric has ordered all cameras within the area to operate to locate Hei's position. This was Amber's perfect curtain call, yet her exit leaves a sense of unresolved feelings. She has always loved Hei but led him to believe she hated him until she was about to vanish, only then revealing the truth to him. Despite possessing the unmatched power to control time, she chose to fight her enemies with the gentlest methods. Her sole intention was to defend the rights of contractors to exist, and to make their presence known to the world. Such a gentle Amber hardly seems like a villain. Compared to Pandora, who claims to fight for humanity, Amber truly chose the greater good. Hei, watching Amber in this state, felt no anger or excitement. Before coming here, he was uninterested in why EPR fought. Now, it was different. This battle was a continuation of the war in South America. Hei had always been an ordinary human, merely using his sister's powers. Choosing between humans and contractors would be a difficult decision for him. Whenever Hei followed the organization's orders, Bai and he felt sad. When they decided to defy the organization, they did not want to involve Hei and kept him uninformed. Moreover, if Hei knew the truth, he would want to leave the organization and would not have survived to this day. At this moment, Amber sensed that something capable of erasing all contractors and Hell's Gate was approaching, and she intended to stop it. In fact, electric shock was just the initial part of Bai's powers, which when fully unleashed, would destroy everything. If Hei couldn't manage that, he would have to watch as all contractors on the planet disappeared. The launcher had begun its countdown. Misaki wanted to stop it but was powerless as those around her had lost their senses. In a critical moment, Amber injected meteorite fragments into Hei's body. Amber activated her powers once again, using all her strength to rewind time and send Hei to the past. But she herself vanished completely from the world. Her only purpose was to give Hei a chance to make a new choice. Hei chose coexistence between humans and contractors and went to the base to release Bai's powers, neutralizing the anti-gate particles and causing the organization's plan to fail. Eric was killed by the director, who pinned all the blame on him and accused him of insurrection, a typical move of sacrificing pawns to save the king by the organization. Now, no one could prove the organization's existence, but fortunately, Misaki had recorded all the director's statements. The director planned to eliminate Misaki, but was timely stopped by Hei. Misaki intervened just as Hei was about to kill the director.
リーという男はもういない。